Myth 9, the growing numbers of black celebrities prove the racial wealth gap is closing. Oh my. Going as far back as the early days of Motown, black celebrity has played a prominent role in the American consciousness. But starting during the early 80s, the image of the position of overall black wealth came to be projected through the lives of a small set of famous black Americans. Unfortunately, from the Cosby Show to Michael Jackson's platinum albums to Will Smith's meteoric rise to the present day mega couple Jay-Z and Beyonce, black celebrity has masked black poverty rather than contributed closing the racial wealth gap. Despite recently released Federal Reserve data, the median black family has a net worth of about $17,000. That 17 drops all the way down to like $1,500, $1,600. You take them clothes, that TV, and that car out. But as long as they show you the NBA players, y'all don't even digest it. There's about 500 NBA players. They show them so often it feels like a million people. We are dealing with a mass incarceration of black males, but we don't see them on TV. So what we gonna do is take 500 NBA players and make you feel like you have access to white privilege as a result of their existence and mix them up along with black celebrity at large to the point where you don't understand that black people are poor in this country, particularly ADOS people.
All right, Shalom. This is the brother Nahalia from the GMS Orlando camp. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yasher Allah, and a sincere salutation to all Yuakim, who are preaching this word and believing this word, and to the Akwat, who are believing this word, in all truth and in sincerity. Yahweh is the name of the one they ignorantly call God. Yahweh Shai is the name of the one they ignorantly call Jesus. Bahashem is in the name. Rakah is spirit. Kodash is holy. Akyam is brothers. Akwat is sisters. Shalom means peace. And Yasher Allah is Israel in ancient Paleo Hebrew. All right, this is Isaiah chapter 31 and verse 1. And it reads, "Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, and stay on horses, and trust in chariots, because they are many, and in horsemen, because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Yasher Allah, neither seek the Lord." All right, now I want to go into a lesson based on the clip that you saw from a video of Tone Talks. You know, I do lessons on him from time to time because he brings out a lot of information concerning economics and Jake. All right, and 2/3 of our people, their ultimate trust is in Esau Edom, the so-called white man. All right, whether it's through the courses that they sell concerning generational wealth, whether it's through the idea that if they get this CDL or they start a trucking business, somehow it's going to save themselves and their family. You know, our people looking to vote their way out of this captivity. All right, all of those things is trusting in the spirit of Egypt. You know, ultimately, that trust is in a vain thing. There is no hope for Babylon the Great, which is America. All right, it's not going to get better. All right, and that's according to the will of the Lord. And what you find is that 2/3 of our people, they're not with the will of Yahweh Shema Shai. All right, they're with the will of Esau. All right, because in order for their dreams to come true, the so-called white man has to remain in rulership. All right, this is Jeremiah chapter 50. And I want to jump down to verse 6. All right, and it reads, "My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. They have turned them away on the mountains. They have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place." All right, and it says their shepherds have caused them to go astray. And that begins with those people who have the biggest platforms on this side, all right, that are our people, whether it's the preachers, whether it's the rap artists or the musicians, all right, or the athletes. Esau platforms those guys because they give this same message of desiring Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, to remain in rulership. They don't talk about being freed. They don't have sovereign interests. All right. All the ones that Esau gives the most attention to are people that look like us. All right. And that are of our people. All right. To forward this mirage that is called the American dream. And when you listen to a guy like Tone Talks, he brings out the information that shows you that the numbers, all right, they have that saying in the world, the numbers don't lie. When you look at the actual numbers, there is no hope. which shows you that our people's trust isn't a vain thing, because even the numbers itself tell you that there's no hope for this place. Now, a guy like Tone Talks, he'll bring out this information, but his hope is in voting for reparations. You know, guys like Tariq Nasheed, Dr. Umar, you know, these guys can point out certain facts about Jake's condition, but their hope is still in this system in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Whether it's we got to organize more, or we got to vote our way into getting reparations so that we can get some of the wealth. And ultimately, all of that is trust in a vain thing, because it's not going to come to pass. The scriptures say the fashion of this world shall pass away, meaning the Lord is setting up something greater. All right, that doesn't involve fiat currency. All right, let's go here. This is, I'll start at, this is Psalm 62:10. It says, trust not in oppression and become not vain in robbery. And 2/3 of our people trust in oppression, man. All right. They trust that one day their oppressors will look at them differently. And that is a hope that's in a vain thing, man. All right. Let's go back to Isaiah. This is Isaiah 30:12. Wherefore thus saith the Holy One of Yasharallah, because ye despise this word and trust in oppression and perverseness and stay thereon, therefore this iniquity shall be to you as a breach ready to fall, swelling out in a high wall, whose breaking cometh suddenly at an instant. And 2/3 of our people ultimately trust in oppression. That's why they can see the numbers. All right, because a guy like Tone Talks, he sees the numbers, but he still has hope in oppression. You know, your solution, you know, when you listen to his solution after he bring out all this information, his solution is we got to vote to get reparations. We got to do politics. That is a form of trusting in oppression. But I love bringing out certain points that he brings out concerning the facts, because when you look at the numbers haven't changed. They actually have changed. Esau's become wealthier. You know, C19, that whole demic, Esau became wealthier. Not Esau as a whole, but his elites. Because right now, they're in the midst of a class war. The Edomites. The elite, rich Edomites are stealing from the poor Edomites. When they talk about ruining the middle class and the middle class is disappearing, they're really talking about Edomites. You have some Jakes that are sprinkled in that, but the real talking points, generally speaking, is pointing to them Edomites. But Jake has been losing, and the numbers don't lie. Jake has been losing, man. You know, when it talks about the average household wealth of a so-called Negro, Latino, or Native American is $12,000. Some will say as much as 30. But then the average wealth of a so-called white household is around 285,000. And this is the Lord showing our people even now, which is, it exposes how rebellious our people are, man. Because even with the numbers being put in their face, they still trust in oppression instead of the Heavenly Father. They still desire this place to continue forever so that they could get a little piece of the pie. Whereas the Lord said he's building a table for us in the presence of our enemies. In Psalms, the 23rd chapter. All right, he's building a table. He's setting a table before us. And that word bank goes back to table. Real wealth is in control of the resources. It's not in getting a job or a business in another man's system. All right, it's in having control of the resources, which that is what's promised to us as a nation of people. All right, matter of fact, let me get this. Because our people desire a good position in another man's kingdom, whereas this is what the Lord promised us. This is Deuteronomy 15:6. For the Lord thy God blesseth thee as he promised thee, and thou shalt lend unto many nations, but thou shalt not borrow. And thou shalt reign over many nations, but they shall not reign over thee. And our people trust in oppression. They don't want to be sovereign. They don't want their own. They want to be successful, so-called successful in another man's kingdom. That is where their hope is. Because brothers have to work. You know, if you don't work, you don't eat. We still have to handle our responsibilities in this society. But our hope is in the Lord delivering us from this place. That the fashion of this world will pass away. That is where our ultimate hope lives. Not in building generational wealth in Babylon the Great. Because every dream that Jake has on this side is in vain things, man. Because it can all be taken away from you by Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. Kanye West is a proof of that. And that's why Jeremiah, the 50th chapter in the 6th verse said, my people have been lost sheep. They've gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place. Because our people think that our problem is economic. And it's not. It's not because we don't have economic. That's not our problem. We have a spiritual problem as a nation of people, and that problem is disobedience. Everything else is just a symptom of that. And this is why the Lord said this in Isaiah 42nd chapter. I'm going to read this real quick. Because all our people who forsake this word, when you look at the numbers, they're not winning because of that. They're still losing, which shows you that they're rebellious. It exposes the rebellion in Jake because they're still losing. And when you look at the numbers, the average household of Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans being between 12 and 30,000, and then the average wealth, all right, of a so-called white household being 285,000, Jake forsake this word to still be losing. And their desire is to stay in this society and get a little bit more income for themselves. It ain't about the commonwealth. The Lord promised us a commonwealth as a nation of people. But Jake is fighting for their sealed houses. And when you look at the numbers, they haven't gained any ground. You got the NAACP, you got all these different programs in Esau's system, but you still have an average income as a nation of people of between 12 and 30,000. And that's the Lord showing us. All right, this is Isaiah 42 and 24. And it reads, who gave Jacob for a spoil and Israel to the robbers? Did not the Lord, he against whom we have sinned? For they would not walk in his ways, neither were they obedient unto his law. Therefore he hath poured upon him, the fury of his anger, and the strength of battle, and it hath set him on fire round about. Yet he knew not, and it burned him, yet he laid it not to heart. And the Lord set up the apostles first and foremost, and brothers on down, to give our people that warning, to give our people that sign of the Lord's compassion, to receive mercy, acknowledge your offense, and return to the Lord. That all of our problems that we experience in Babylon the Great, which is America, truly stem from the disobedience. And like that saying in the world, the numbers don't lie. When you look at information like this that Tone Talks will bring out, it's obvious that even in our people's rebellion, they haven't gained anything from it, man. You're still losing. Which only forwards the fact that they're just rebellious at the end of the day. They don't love the Lord. They don't want to come home. It's not a fact of Jake just being ignorant, you know, because that's the argument. Jake's slow. Nah, they're rebellious. It's a difference. All right, real quick, matter of fact. Let me get this in Zechariah. This is Zechariah chapter 7 and verse 11. And it reads, but they refused to hearken and pulled away the shoulder and stopped their ears that they should not hear. All right, because again, this information that Tone Talks done brought out, brothers that have done lessons on it, will say, look, you got to return to the Lord. Even guys like Charleston White, they give this nigga a platform because he says some of the most controversial shit. And every now and then he'll say something that's true concerning our people. But then when you tell them it all goes back to the Lord, they refuse to hearken. Most of the jakes that our people listen to, like the Dr. Umars, the Tariq Nasheeds, the Farrakhan, they can point out the problems. Easily, they can point out the problems. But the solution involves trusting in oppression. Whether they want to acknowledge that or not, we got to organize. Organize under whose system? We got to practice group economics. Who's in control of the monetary system? Is that a real solution to our sovereignty? It's not. All of their solutions is band-aids on bullet wounds. But then when you tell them that it really goes back to the Lord, not only do they despise it, but they mock it. The condition we in as a people through the Spirit goes back to the Lord, man. If Esau gave our people reparations, would that actually heal our people? No, it would make Cadillac rich. It would make Gucci rich. It would make the new designer Amiris, and it'll make Cognac, Hennessy, Remy. It'll make all of those companies rich, but it wouldn't heal our people's problem, because our people's problem is not financial. Even if we had our own land, if the Lord, hypothetically speaking, if we went back to the land of Israel, if they said, look, we're going to send all of you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans back into your land, would that actually heal us? No, you just have so-called Black and Latino culture in our own land. We destroy each other. All of the so-called solutions our people have are band-aids on bullet wounds, at best. And then when you tell them to come back to the Lord, they refuse to hearken, man. That's why 2/3 of our people, as the scriptures say, they understood not but despised it. They're going to have to learn this lesson through death by pain. That's the only solution for 2/3 of our people, because they refuse to return, man. Even with all this information, a guy like Tone Talks, this man been making videos about this same subject for between 7 and 10 years at least. And his solution at the end of most of his videos is about politics. Y'all ain't do no politics. Y'all got to do politics. That's going to get us out of this. That's not the solution. That's not the solution. That's not going to get us out of this. It's the Lord that did it. And instead of Jake acknowledging their offense, what do? They continue in rebellion. All right, matter of fact, let's go here. This is Hosea chapter 5 and verse 15. And it reads, I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense and seek my face. In their affliction, they shall seek me early. And 2/3 of our people don't want to acknowledge their offense. They don't want to acknowledge that they haven't hearkened unto the commandments of the Lord. They'll blame it on an economic problem. They'll blame it on not practicing good politics. They'll blame it on not having enough weapons to defend ourselves. But then when you tell them it's the disobedience, they will not acknowledge their offense. This is Isaiah chapter 1 and 5, and it reads, why should ye be stricken anymore? All right, because the Lord brought us over here to be corrected. Not to believe or hope that you're going to be here for another 100 generations so you can get your money up. That's hope in a vain thing, man. All right, continuing, it says, ye will revolt more and more. The whole head is sick and the whole heart faint. All right, and that's a spiritual sickness. It ain't because of funny money. Because if you gave our people the money, the land, the weapons, they would destroy themselves, which shows you that's not the root of the issue. And I love going into these videos from Tone Talks, because again, it highlights that even in our people's rebellion, they're still poor and afflicted. And that goes back to the curses. I'm going to go back to the curses real quick. Yeah, there's Deuteronomy 28 and 33. The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always. All right. Man, matter of fact, I'm gonna get another one. It's Deuteronomy 28 and 29. And thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind gropeth in darkness. And that's Jake trying to find another solution. Like if the lights was cut off in your room and you was trying to find the lamp to cut the light on, you groping, you reaching for stuff and seeing, trying to figure it out, trying to find the light. And that's every Jake outside of this truth. They groping, they looking for, they trying to find their way through the darkness. And then when you give them the light, this is the way, they refuse to return unto it. All right, continuing, it says, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee. And don't get it misconstrued. Even the so-called elites of our people. All right, the so-called rich of our people. The scripture said they reign as kings. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get it because I believe it's reign like kings instead of reign as. Let me get it in 1 Corinthians 4. This is 1 Corinthians 4 and verse 8, and it reads, now ye are full, now ye are rich. Ye have reigned as kings without us. And I would to God ye did reign, that we also might reign with you. So the so-called rich of our people reign as kings, but they don't have any real power. They're glorified servants. They're high-paid servants. Because what do you think when you think about the so-called kings of our people in present day? It's the athletes, the musicians, maybe a few corporate jakes, but they don't have any true power. They're just high-paid servants, because there's a difference between money and power. There's a difference between money and access. All right? Money doesn't necessarily give you access. All right? It gives you more opportunity in this society, more freedoms, but it doesn't give you true power. It doesn't give you access to the elites. So the so-called kings of our people, they reign over Jake. They got more money than Jake, but they're still in a lower state. All right, that $100,000, that $1 million deal and all of that shit that Jake got is small, it's peanuts compared to a Rothschild. Think about let's use one of the examples. Let's think about a Jay-Z compared to one of the sons of the Rothschilds that we don't know about. They're living far better. They have more wealth than Jake. The only thing Jake got is notoriety for being a musician, which ain't a real flex. It's not a real flex. Being known as a high-paid entertainer is not a flex. That's why we desire the commonwealth through the Spirit. When your family, when your nation is known as the top nation on earth, that is a wealth that money can't buy. That's why the scriptures talk about the commonwealth of Israel. All right, matter of fact, I'm going to get that. Let's go to Ephesians 2, and I'm going to get the point. This is Ephesians 2 and 12, and it reads that at that time you were without Hamashiach, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel and strangers from the covenants of promise, having no hope and without Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua in the world. Because there's a level of commonwealth that the elites have, the elites of the so-called white man, that the richest Jakes don't have. It's some no-name Getty or some Rothschild that you wouldn't know if you passed by them, that have wealth beyond imagination, that have full assurance of life. Even the Jakes that reign as kings without us, they don't have full assurance of life. At any moment of time, that shit can be taken away from them by Esau Edom. P. Diddy is a perfect example. With all of that, all of the riches he's attained, he can't get out of prison. He can't bond himself out of jail. He was willing to put up $70 million worth of assets and couldn't get out. And that goes back into the scriptures, richest prophet not in the day of wrath, man. And when you look at these numbers, because it ain't just brothers that watch videos like this. You got Jakes in the world that watch videos like this and still come to the same conclusion of trusting in oppression. Trying to build generational wealth on this side is still a form of trusting in oppression, because your hope is fully invested in this system continuing so that you can accumulate that generational wealth. This is why the Lord said, come out of her, my people, in Micah 2:10. Meaning, come out of your hope in this place. We still have to handle our responsibilities, but our hope ultimately is in the Lord changing the fashion of this world, man. Taking down Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, as a nation of people, and establishing the kingdom of heaven. That's our desire. All right, let's go here. And I'll end it with this. This is Acts 1. Let me jump down to verse 6. All right, and it reads, when they therefore were come together, they asked of him, saying, Lord, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? That's the spirit the apostles were in. Will you restore the kingdom unto Israel? Having money in Babylon the Great, which is America, is not a form of rulership. It's not the kingdom. You can reign over a bunch of poor Israelites, but you're not reigning as a king. It's a tainted consolation. And look at how the Lord responded. Verse 7, and he said unto them, it is not for you to know the times of the seasons, Salakia, the times or the seasons, which the Father hath put in his own power. So the Lord didn't rebuke them for saying, is you going to give us the kingdom? He says, it's not for you to know when that's going to happen, which shows you it's actually going to play out. All right, so Lord willing, this was edifying. With that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yashar Allah. And a sincere salutation to all you Akim, who are preaching this word and believing this word, and to the Akwath, who are believing this word in all truth and in sincerity. Shalom.